Hello, storytellers. Sydney Brown here, Memoir Mastermind, back with another episode for writing and publishing for beginners. So in today's session, we're going to talk about the crucial step that really just doesn't get all of the spotlight that it deserves. And that's, the gathering and continually gathering and organizing all of the materials that you will need to create your personal memoir. So it may sound kind of boring, not like the glamorous part that you've envisioned for yourself on doing this journey, but I'm telling you, it's vital. And so let's dive right in. And before we get started on that, I do want to talk to you real quick about the I Remember When program. If you're already in it, then this is part of the training for that. And if you are not yet part of the I Remember When project, if you have not signed up, then go into the description, look for the link, and go ahead and sign up for that process. With that, we're giving you all of the stuff that you're going to need to carry you through a full year of process. You can do it faster. It's completely at your own pace, but we suggest you go up to a year because that will give you plenty of time to really go into the reflections and just really enjoying your process of creating your legacy that you're going to have in a book form at the end of this process. You will have if assuming United States, you're going to have a book shipped to you, and you can order additional as well if you choose to. If you want to publish it for the public, we'll walk you through that as well. But if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe now. We have a ton of content that you will be able to come back to at any time. Literally, we're between the short tips and the different courses that are absolutely free and all of the other additional training content, hours and hours and hours. But you don't have to be overwhelmed by it, because when you're part of the I Remember When project, we actually have a schedule for you that tells you when to watch each video so that you're not wasting your time and going out of orders and just getting overwhelmed. So if you're not yet part of I Remember When, make sure you look below, check it out, and then let me know if you have any questions. But here we go. So when the reason that this is important, the gathering the information, your life. It was your life, right? It's your story that you're pouring out of you. You already know all of that. But have you ever gone through a photo album, and as you look at each picture, you already know a photo album, right? You remember, but you look at this one picture of when it was Easter, when you were like 6 years old maybe, and all of a sudden you remember that day. You remember, the dog you got for Easter, or whatever, the bunny rabbit, whatever your memories are, they'll start flooding back to you in a way that your regular memory has escaped. And so it's very important that you want to gather and organize all of these things that can support your process for this year. This is going to be a full year that you're going to be reflecting on your life, reliving the great memories, processing and putting some closure to the things that weren't such good memories, and then figuring out how you came out on the other side. And hopefully you have, but if you haven't yet, then, show the progress that you've made. Once you learn and you reflect on where you've been and where you are now, then all of a sudden your vision of your story that you want to share with others, it becomes so much more clear. Okay, so I've done all of these things. And then when you look at, let's go back to that Easter picture. You're 6 years old and you got a bunny rabbit. Maybe you can put an entire book together about the summer you were 6. It's whatever is in your life that matters to you. And as you go through and reflect, the photos, the just different things like that. And for most of us, it is going to be the photos, but anything like birth certificates or anything that meant something to you. You look around your house. Did you have the I don't know, let's say a ship in a bottle. Who put that ship in the bottle together? Figure out all the things that built you, every memory that you have. Literally just kind of look around and see where did you come from? And as you gather these things, now you may not want to put a ship in the bottle on your desk, but on a notepad, put ship and bottle, story about building with dad, whatever it is. Let all of those things start filling up your notepads, first of all, but your heart and your mind, because you don't want to kind of reflect and be in that process and then all of a sudden realize that you don't know where you were going with the story. You all of a sudden don't remember the details very well, and then you got to start looking for details, and then that might stall your creativity. So it's super important that you're gathering these and organizing materials that will build your story by reminding you who you are. In doing that, you don't want to do it just, one weekend or something like that. That's not necessarily, you do want to do that at first, but as you go in further, keep reflecting so that you don't get the book done and then all of a sudden you see a photo album and you flip through it and you're like, oh my God, I wish I should have told that story. I should have added that story. It's never too late, but it would be better if you started at the beginning and then just continually added and organized. So in that, when you're creating a memoir, it really is, this complex tapestry with threads, memory, experience, research, introspection. The process requires just an enormous amount of material with your personal memories. Diaries, if you have diaries, those are amazing to read back and review. Letters, I don't know if you ever did this, but in my, I think it was high school, maybe junior high school years, when you would have a little boyfriend, you would write letters back and forth to each other. I don't know what they do nowadays, but that's what we did when I was young. And going back and looking through all of those letters that just filled an entire dresser drawer. At some point I threw them away, and I wish I hadn't, because you move on, you get married, and you don't want to have, your spouse knowing about these little letters that you sent each other. It's just kind of, if you have those things, find them and reread them, because it's a great way to reflect back on that time. So basically what we're going to talk about here is that we're going to go over the top 10 reasons to continue gathering and organizing materials. And then we're going to talk about practical tips on how to do it effectively. So I'm just going to go straight into it. Top 10 reasons to continually gather and organize materials. Now, number one is obviously, it helps your story. Having more memories that they're in you, but you need to somehow bring them forward, because sometimes they're so buried that you would never just automatically remember them. Sometimes you have to have something trigger it. And triggers are not bad things. A lot of people associate the word trigger with negativity. It could be negative, but triggers are also just really great ways of, that seeing a great photo triggers a positive memory of a time that you had before. Number two, easy access. And that's obvious. But basically, if you get your stuff organized, and it doesn't have to all be in front of you, But if you have it on like an Excel sheet or something like that, or even a notebook, and you have it all written down, being able to know the bunny rabbit picture, that's all you have to do, and just know where you can get your hands on that bunny rabbit picture. But once you've seen it again in recent times, you even just having it written down and remembering, then you may not have to go look at the picture again. But the easy access will save you a lot of headache and time. Number 3, inspiration. There's so many things that you're gonna see in photo albums and letters and your diaries that you don't remember at all. And it's the just being able to bring it back to your memory is going to just blow up your potential storylines. Number 4, historical accuracy. Now, I promise you, even your best memories are often you reminding yourself of what you remembered rather than actually remembering that time way, way, way long ago. So it's when we go back and we look at the pictures again, and then we remember how we felt, and then you forget it again until you pick up the photo album again. And time will change things in your mind if you're just remembering what you've remembered, if that makes sense. But when you actually have the photos in front of you, sometimes they'll have a date on the back of it, or if not, you can look at yourself and know, okay, there is no way I was 6 years old. I must have been like 3 or 4 then. So then that brings in the historical accuracy to your memories, because you will forget some of the details. Number 5, contextual clarity. Now, what I mean by that is, like the materials like letters and photos, they provide context to your memoir. It's very, very helpful. Number 6, emotional depth. So certain objects or images may evoke strong emotions. When I call it triggering, that enhances your storytelling. So if you feel it again, and not just remember it, but if you allow yourself to feel it again, it will actually come through in your words how you feel. And that's what's important, because you want to not just pour out knowledge, you want to share the emotions. Number 7, details. Materials can jog your memory, help you include essential details that you wouldn't have remembered already. Number 8, verification. Documents can confirm your memories and dates. I remember doing I couldn't remember what grade I was in, but I remembered doing this, I think it was a Christmas program at school, and I was in this long dress because when I was in kindergarten, I think it was kindergarten or first grade. And that year I had this little short pixie haircut, and the style was long dresses. And God help us. It's one of those things where I remembered being nervous and different things like that. But when I see this picture and I see the me who I used to be, and I'm like, man, I was an ugly kid. And then I'll be like, man, I was cute though. And then in the picture, I'm looking to the side because I think I must have been trying to find, looking through the audience, looking for your parents, usually is what, when little kids are doing that. But it's just like it brought all those memories back. And on the back of that image where my parents had it developed and printed, the developers, it had the date auto stamped. So it's not like anyone hand wrote it where it could be inaccurate, but it had the year of it. And I'm not going to say what year it was, but I think it was 70 something. But it was one of those things where all of a sudden I'm like, okay, that was definitely my first grade year, and I honestly, I just made that part up, but it was the ability to prove what grade I was in. Number 9, character development. Now, you may not realize because you're a character in your story, you don't think you need to develop your character unless you're changing yourself now or somehow falsifying something to make you more interesting. But that's not what character development means in a memoir. It really is just about opening up a little bit more for the reader to see and understand who you are and why you did the things you did. So in that, the eyes being over to the side, I could have shared in my character development that I was nervous and I was afraid that no one was going to show up for me. And how, gosh, you've seen the videos, right? Where little kids are desperately trying to find their parents and they look kind of broken. And then when they see them, all of a sudden, they just get excited and they're happy. And you can see just by looking at your face in the old pictures, maybe you were frumpy, maybe you're going through your angsty time, by looking at pictures again, you're able to know what was going on in that moment. And even if you're only, to the best of your recollection, reliving, then you can open that character, up a little bit and let your reader get to know you and how nervous you were. And then number 10, time management. Having a process that is organized instead of just crazy, willy-nilly, being organized every time is going to help you because you're able to focus your time not on going and finding things. When you've got the inspiration, you get the inspiration from the things that you've already accumulated. And in doing that, you're able to spend your focus time on actually writing your story. And that in itself is well worth going through the little bits of time where you're going to be doing the accumulation. Now, I'm going to go straight into the top 10 tips for effectively gathering and organizing your materials. So number 1, maintain a consistent system. Whether it's a digital folder or a physical binder, consistency is the key. Now, I love having things on files and stuff on my computer. If you follow me already, you know that I live on my Google Drive because I can sync between my desktop, my laptop, my iPad, my phone, even my watch if I wanted to. And being able to do that, anywhere I am, I have the ability to do some work. But the consistency, though it matters, I also will keep a notepad handy because there's nothing, I personally believe that I just love to be able to write things, and instead of having to figure out what document it needs to go in or this, that, the other, I will keep a notepad handy at my side where I just jot things down, and then I'll transfer that in my organizing time over to the right file. But I just want to get it on paper so I don't lose it, because that's where most of us will lose things, is if you don't write it down immediately, you will maybe not remember to get it in the right place. Number 2, use digital tools. Tools like Evernote, Google Drive, things like that can help you organize yourself so much. I don't know how we survived before all of this, but these digital tools to me are a lifesaver. Number 3, regular review. Now, by regular review, I don't mean daily, maybe not even weekly. If you've got a year, I would maybe go back, every month, kind of flip through things and reread and just kind of see, okay, so that picture where I was up on stage in kindergarten, I already remember that, I've documented it. So now I'm going to put it over here because it could also be part of my younger years collection of memories. So, whatever you're doing, you can kind of shift some of your resources around. And in doing that, you bring memories into other areas of your stories. Number 4, categorize. So by this, I just mean, organize by category, your timeline, by people, locations, things like that. And again, taking that stage picture, that could be kindergarten, that could be younger years, that could be stage appearances, whatever all the stories that you're going to have are, you can put that one picture into 4 or 5 different categories, and it absolutely will belong in any of them. And then you can use it anywhere that you choose to, because you've already put the thought into categorizing. Number 5, digital backup. Now, always have a digital backup of important documents and photos. This is kind of funny. As a person who's been divorced more than once, I have files of divorce papers and marriage licenses and stuff like that. And it was not until just very recently that I'm like, OMG, I need to just scan these, put them on the drive, because every time, 10 years after, they're still asking, how do you prove that your name was this on this date? Things like that, you need to have digital backup. So your photos, I love on OneDrive, they will remind me, this was your photo from this day in a previous year. And it's so nice to just be able to reflect back. And I don't even have to take the time to go looking for those. I put the photos up into the OneDrive, and they will email me every day of all of the photos from any year of that day. And it's really a nice way to, have that brought back to you without you putting that energy into it. Number 6, respect copyright. If you're using public materials, respect the copyright. It's law. It's not a suggestion. It is a law. It will open you to lawsuit if you steal someone else's content. But also think, now that you're going to be publishing something, whether it's just for you and your family or, to actually put out into the world, you want them to respect you too. So don't use other people's artwork, other people's anything that is their property. Number 7, diary or journal. Keep a diary or a journal, whatever you call it, to document ongoing experiences and thoughts. So if you're I don't know, let's say I'm 55. If you're 55 and you never had a diary or a journal before, start today. Even if that is not going to go into your memoir yet that you're working on this year, it might have another memoir after, and always just start today. Build your memories and document everything that you can. Electronic diaries, electronic journals are just amazing nowadays. And if you really like the feel of writing in something physical, then you can get these journals that the paper parts come out, and you have a reusable cover, so that you have something that's nice and means something to you that you keep handy, because that's why most of us stop journaling, is we maybe don't have it up and accessible, and it may just be something that we don't want. It's not pretty enough. So buy something with a nice cover that makes you feel like you can keep that out and handy. Number 8, voice notes. If writing isn't convenient, the world is so high tech now that you can literally record yourself just talking. Give yourself voice notes and go back and review them. You can actually have them transcribed for cheap, if not free, with different apps. There's just so much available to help you relive and reclaim your memories. Number 9, secure storage. Ensure that your materials are stored safely, especially if they're irreplaceable. Photo albums, I don't remember when I did it, but we don't have photo albums anymore because we scanned them all and have everything online. But I don't have it online in one place. I have it on, in my computer drive. I have it on Google Drive, and I have it on OneDrive. So by doing that, I'm probably paying for extra storage that, someone who's extremely frugal might be judging me right now because I'm paying for storage in a couple places. But as a person who lost photo albums of my daughter's young years, I will never get those back. And so now you better believe that if I have photos, they're going into more than one secure place. So just protect your stuff, because those memories are things that you won't get back. Now, if it's 1,000 selfies where you look the exact same, maybe pick your top 3, get rid of the rest, so you don't have to pay for storage of every one of them. But make sure that the things that matter you protect. And then number 10, you update regularly. As your memoir evolves, your organized materials should too. So I'm going to suggest that you, once a month, that you go through everything that you've got, that you've accumulated, that you've documented. And when you, like, say the stage photo, say I want to talk about my first stage appearance when I was in kindergarten. And then I want to talk about, let's say, when I did a global or an international talk on just 2020, 2021, when I was a professional speaker, as much as I'm bumbling now, but when I did that, at 55 versus 5, bringing that over here, all of a sudden you can remember, like, oh, I should do a before and after kind of a story. And that would be fun. Like I little did I know at age 5 that I was one day going to be on an international stage. There's so many ways that you can repurpose your memories. And so it's super important that you update regularly and rethink and recalculate, what's going on in your mind with it. So anyway, the process of continually gathering and organizing materials for your memoir can seem a little bit overwhelming. It might seem a little unnecessary, but remember, each piece that you gather is a stepping stone on your journey of your life, your unique story. And so just keep collecting, keep organizing, and more importantly, keep writing, because your story matters. It matters so much, whether it's to your loved ones that you're going to hand this down to for generations to come, or if it's going to build for your overcomer story that you're going to publish out to the world. Your story matters. You've got to figure out how to get it out of you and then put it into a book form, and then let's get that shared with the world. I'm Sydney Brown, and I look forward to getting to know you and your story.